Hi, welcome back. So we are at the last outline of this development tips, and that is to discuss the subject of method and class decorator. So let me show you a scenario, and then we can explore the powerful feature of that. We'll call this function as the z-display function. And basically it takes two arguments, the x and the y. We just going to return the z value after we display. And same thing, I'm going to make one more function. I will call it the w display function. Takes two arguments, return the sum of x and y, that's all. Basically, if I would like to interact with these two functions, as simple as by just getting the sum of the argument that I have added. Say somehow along the line, I have many regular functions like that in my class or my program. And somehow we came up to the idea where we wanted actually to make an amendment. And the amendment is going to be unified among all those little functions. And basically what it does, whatever is the first argument, in this case, for example, the x, I would like to take the original one and just multiply it by 2. So basically you might think, all right, I might have to come to each function and just take the x and change its value by x multiplied by 2. And that's it. There's nothing wrong with that. However, imagine if you would have like 100 of them. This is not an optimal solution to such a problem. Now I'm going to share with you an important concept, and I hope the idea from there is going to be quite a bit more intuitive as we build up on it. I'm going to define here a function. I will call it the decorate function. And basically what it does, this function, it takes an original function, that's what it does, and then it passes everything to another inner function inside it, call it the exe function. And basically what it does, this function, nothing but return the original function. And basically the decorator function, it returns exe function. That's all. I'm going to get back here to my line, and I would like to make a simpler function that take no argument for now, just to illustrate something, then we can build up from this. This is just a temporary with no argument at all. And basically what it does, it just print a line. I will call it, this is a temp function. That's all. Now I'm going to call it the temp display function, deal with the decorator function, and pass to it the temp function. Let me run one more time, and then you get the expected result. So one more time, this decorator function did nothing. It took actually this temporary function and passed it to another function inside called the inner function. And what does this inner function? Just executed this function, the temporary one, which is basically required to print this line. I might do extra things here, get it to this inner function, since it's just returning the original function. And before we return it, we can do something inside. For example, I could print from the exe function, something like that. So if I would have to run this line one more time, I will get the function, the inner one is printing a line before it executes the original function. All of this, I hope, is quite clear and makes sense to you. Instead of keep doing so by assigning this to temporary, and then we pass, and then we call the decorator function, and we do that, we're going to use something called the decorator, using the add symbol and using the decoration function like that. So once I do that, instead of using this, all of which, I could directly get to the temporary function, and I just execute the temporary function directly. And you could see the result exactly as expected. Imagine this temporary function, it accepts an argument, and let's say it takes argument x, and just it passes the argument x. Now if I would have to run this, I might run into an error. The exe function, which is the inner function that executed the original function, says it takes 0 positional argument, but one was given, which is the 20 here. To this end, we're going to make use of the star or the asterisk 1 quarks. Now, basically, when it returns the original function one more time, it's going to return those args, and it's going to return those quarks. Now, if I run this one more time, I shouldn't have any problem because we have dealt with the passing argument in this case. Now, I hope the idea is quite clear to you. Now, let's put all of we have just learned into a practical matter. So let me show you, first of all, I'm going to work on one of those display functions. I will call it the add decorator function. And let me try to run the z function as it is. So I have got the result as expected. This is from the exe function, which is we have just worked with. This is the exe function, and inside whatever the z function wanted to do, which is the sum of their x and y. Now what we want to do, we want to attempt to amend this argument of x, which is 5, and multiply by 2 before we pass. So basically what we could do, we have control over the arguments. If you remember, these args carry actually the tuple of 5 and 2. Let me show you exactly what it looked like. So I'm going to say here, I'm going to print actually those args, okay, and I don't need this line that says executed, right? And you could see here I've got 5 and 2. Now what I would like to do, I would like to reach to those args and get 5 to be multiplied by 2. However, this is a tuple, and if you remember, tuple is immutable. I cannot really adjust or amend anything with tuple. So this and what I'm gonna do actually, I'm gonna creating, for example, a var list. Then I'm gonna loop over those args. I'm gonna take each one of them, append it. So if I would have to run this one again, I will get the list of 5 and 2. I'm going to take the var list 0, which is the first argument, and I'm going to take it is equal to var list 0 as it is, and multiply it by 2 as requested. Let's see whether the admired result has been reached out to or not. Yes, it is. Now I would like to convert this var list into a tuple one more time and pass it as an args instead of the arg. So what I could do is equal to tuple keyword of the var list. That's all. And now once we pass the var tuple, you will see that the value is not going to be 7 anymore. It should be 12. Let me run this one more time, and as expected, it is 12. So now as simple as getting this decorator to the W display here. Let me see, and the result is in there. Now I have used decorator as a function, but at the same time you might use decorator as a class. Now next, what we're going to do actually, I'm going to work on two popular libraries or modules or packages. I think the names, it doesn't matter now as long as you understand the concept. One of them is called the NumPy package, and the other one called the pandas package. But the idea I wanted you to know that with the knowledge that you have learned in the previous outlines, you are able to write your own package just exactly like what NumPy is doing or Pandas is doing. If you like to do that from scratch, reinvent the wheel, just go ahead and do it. Otherwise, you might want to utilize only those packages by importing them and work on the built-in functionality. So what I'm going to do here, I'm not going to teach you NumPy and Pandas. I think I'm going to go through some of the functionality of NumPy as a package, an entire package, how we can utilize it, how we can use it, how we can check their reference and read about some of the basic. Same thing I'm going to do with the Pandas package. So let's go ahead without overdue and have a basic understanding of the NumPy package. I will see you then.